Okay, after the tsunami, the government was quite quick in drawing up a plan for the reconstruction and also in allocating funds for the reconstruction. I think the damage was considered pretty high. I don't know exactly the exact figures, but I believe that they have allocated more than 20 billion euro, well, the equivalent in yen, of course, for the reconstruction process, allocated over 10 years. And right after the tsunami, they established the Fukocho, or the Agency for the Reconstruction. They've also relocated representatives from the central government to support local governments in the affected areas, so that the communication between the central government and local authorities was smoother and easier. I would say that, I mean, under many point of view, the action of the Japanese government is just incredible. And I think it's not even possible to think of something similar in any other developed country, not to mention Italy. I don't know exactly the situation in Italy, but I would say that Japan is a model in that aspect. The problem with Japan, though, is not the efficiency of the action, not even a real problem with the amount of money that has been allocated for the reconstruction, but actually the bureaucracy. So even nowadays, and especially right after the tsunami, even if the funds were there, it took a long time to start using the money. There were lots of problems in implementing the actual realization of the projects. And even today, there is plenty of funds that haven't been used because of the bureaucratic aspect of the whole issue, which means that you have to, for example, to fill in a huge amount of paperwork just to get the funds to do something that's a new project, and also because of the Japanese social structure, you need to get into a consensus before you can start doing something. So, for example, in many areas, the central government and the big companies and, for example, the prefectural government wanted to implement something that local community were not actually in favor of. And because of, for example, the procedure was that, first of all, you have to guarantee the safety of the area, which, according to the central government, would be to build protection walls in front of the sea. If you don't first construct the protection wall, then you cannot start rebuilding the city. And because they couldn't get into an agreement, then the reconstruction work was very, very slow. So even if we're saying that Japan is a model, I guess is a model in respect to other countries, but many things could be improved. In any case, it's not a question of funds, but it's a question of priorities. What the government could have done better, perhaps, is that instead of just doing a copy-paste policy, so maybe in the case of the big earthquake that affected Kobe in 1995, the first thing that was done was heavy construction, so supporting reconstruction in terms of infrastructures. In Japan, in Tōhoku in this case, there was a need for local community regeneration. But the government decided that first it was important to ensure safety, and safety meant building barriers in front of the sea, while local fishermen didn't want any barrier because they wanted to rethink about the future of their community in a different way and promote tourism, for example, or a more sustainable way of dealing with nature. And this actually wasn't the real outcome. So it wasn't an economic problem, but I would say a problem of priorities. Getting an agreement between what the central government and the big corporation wanted to do and what local communities were wishing for their future. So they didn't really mean that they wanted to go back to the day before the tsunami, what is said here, the 10th of March, but they wanted to rebuild the community in a different way, get the opportunity to think about their future in a different way.